This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, hour number 3 underway, Monday, August 25th, 9 a.m., right here on Jocks. Going to get to Tyler Watson in just a moment. Don't forget, listen online, jocksfm.com, apps in your app store. That takes you to the YouTube where you can watch us live every day and watch throughout the course of the day. Get you all the podcasts that you need, and you just listen live on the Jocks app. So go download that in the Jocks store. Like I said, I was at a birthday party Saturday night, met a young lady from Birmingham. I don't think she would mind if I said it. It was Jason Campbell's wife, by the way.
Whoa.
She's like, I'm from Birmingham. She goes, look, I still have the Jocks app right here. I listen to you guys.
Heck yeah.
So I was like,
we got action.
There it is. Let's go. Jocks app's everywhere. Let's keep it going. Your CBD store wants to help you live a better life. There's a lot of ways that they can do it. The Trim by SunMed in stock now at the largest brick-and-mortar CBD retailer in the world. That's going to help the appetite, help going to curb that, help get some of the pounds off. Also, your CBD store, first company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They've got the stamp sale on those products. They're open. They're still there. Still have products for you. Don't have to worry about some of those things you see about other places on the news. Your CBD store is there going. If it's gut health, skin care for you or your pet, arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet, they have products that can help you. Get in there to one of their 3 locations today. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, Trustful just off 459, your CBD store where good health hits home. Tyler Watts joining us. You'll hear him on the radio broadcast alongside Chris Stewart and Corey Reamer this fall doing Alabama broadcast. What are your thoughts on the addition of Reamer? We love it. We think it's great. Get a little defensive thought process in there. I feel like he's done a great job talking Bama football whenever I've been around him. But what are your thoughts on the addition?
No, I'm fired up about it. I've been very fortunate here over the last couple of years having Christian Miller and Damian Square on the sideline to bounce different things of what's going on the defensive side, as well as what opposing offenses are doing and how our defense is going to attack it. So I love having that side of the ball represented because it really does really help out our broadcast.
How would you assess the matchup this weekend as you look forward to this one? You've been to scrimmages, you've been around the program. What stood out about this team that feels very different from maybe a year ago?
I think, honestly, man, and you experienced it too, I think they're just comfortable with who they are now. They know what's expected of them. I think that they've really settled in on what the coaches are wanting to do, as well as taking that next step of what they're capable of doing. Obviously, they're much further ahead, but I think player personnel also, you got a lot of dudes that have really bought into it, and I think you have more depth than potentially what you've had over the last year or two even. So I think that they're excited about the pieces that they have in place and what they can. Now, you still have to go out and execute, play well, but I think that they're optimistic about what this team can accomplish.
How would you describe – you've probably been asked, you probably had to do this. When folks around town or your friends, whoever you've been talking to, going different places for the kids, whatever it is, and they're like, man, what's Ty Simpson? What do you expect? Like, what are we going to see? What is he? How do you describe what you think Alabama's starting quarterback is going to be this fall?
I think it's still a question mark just because we haven't seen it. And watching him in practices over the last couple of years, his confidence really seemed to be the only thing that was lacking. You saw the talent, you saw the ability, but just the self-confidence that he could go out there and perform at a high level. But now that he is in his 3rd year, he's the guy. I think he has the respect of his teammates in the locker room, and that's a huge burden off of your shoulders as a quarterback when you're not looking over and really trying to compete. It's your job, your season. You know what's expected. You've seen other guys go through the fire, and he's got a lot of snaps under his belt as well, and not just last year in cleanup duty, but played a good bit versus South Florida the year before, and was really the reason that they were able to win that football game, in an ugly football game, but he performed well. So he's had pieces where he has accomplished some things, and he's just got to learn to build off of that. Now, we still don't know what's going to happen when the bullets fly and he is the guy, and how he handles adversity throughout the course of the game. But being in your 3rd year is a whole lot different handling that pressure than a freshman or sophomore.
When you look at where things are with the loss of Jam Miller and having to kind of replace that position, you lose a home run hitter, a guy that's played a lot of football. How much of a concern is that going into this game, and not so much the Wisconsin game or the ULM game after that? I think Bama should be in good shape, but in the event in which he's not available for the Georgia game, how much does that impact the offense?
We shall see, because it comes down to what Richard Young, Daniel Hill, and Dre Washington are able to do, and who's going to be the guy. Are they going to be able to run the ball? Seems like a couple of weeks ago in scrimmage, although it was early, they got inside the red zone and really struggled to punch it in. I want to see this running game. You know, it's going to be a point of emphasis, whoever it is. But I've seen Richard Young last season really do some nice things, I thought, versus LSU. He ran the ball hard, made guys miss, ran through tackles. So I'm optimistic that we can plug that. I think it is a drop-off, but you're hoping that you get enough production out of there so that Alabama doesn't have to be one-dimensional on the offensive side.
I think most people feel like there's going to be a lot more balance with this team in general. Tyler Watts, former Alabama quarterback, will be on color commentary for the Alabama radio broadcast this fall alongside Chris Stewart, Corey Reamer on sidelines. How much more balance do you anticipate this team being? And I don't just mean throwing passing. I mean less reliance on individual players, spread the wealth a little bit, play calling, and then defensively too, maybe different type players in different situations that can step up, make plays that Kane Womack will be able to lean on at different times.
All right, so let's start on the offensive side. I think it all comes down to the performance of the offensive line. Are we able to fill in those gaps? You lost a couple of nice guys up there, but the core nucleus of your offensive line does return. But how dominant can they be in the trenches? That really dictates what you're able to do offensively. Can you remain balanced throughout the course of the game and throughout the course of the season? I'm optimistic about it. I think a lot of people are, but you still have to see it before you believe it. And because there's so much talent at the wide receiver position. I mean, I was sitting here making a list this morning, and, you know, you got Rico Scott as number 4, and he's a guy that I think that a lot of people are high on. And we hadn't gotten to Cole Adams, who had a lot of flashes last year, Jalen Mbakwe, who comes over from the defensive side. But they're legit 6 deep at the wide receiver room. So I anticipate them spreading the ball around and really utilizing just a short game as kind of extended handoffs to try to keep defenses off balance and run them to death, especially early on. High completion passes, and then you take your home run shots after everybody kind of settles in. On the defensive side, I think Kane Womack has a lot of weapons at his disposal. I'm really optimistic about the secondary. Now in their second year, a lot of young guys played last year. And we talked about it all the time, too. I'd be up there scratching my head going, why are we still rotating 8 defensive backs throughout the course of the season against Tennessee? Well, they're all pretty good, and they needed to be on the field getting that experience. So this is their year to shine. Keep everything in front of them. And I think that more than anything else, they want to cause a lot of confusion on that side and try to create turnovers.
When you look at what this team could eventually become as they grow and get better, what position group you think stands to potentially elevate this group the most? Is it quarterback? I feel like that's kind of the obvious one. So if we just remove Ty Simpson, if he plays like an All-American, we all know what this offense could become. But what position group do you think is in the best position to elevate this team to the highest possible heights?
Oh, boy. Well, Ty Simpson, if he becomes an All-American, it's because he's doing a good job spreading the ball around to all the dudes around him, and he's looking like a genius because of his ability to distribute the ball. I think what's going to differentiate this team between being just a good team and a championship-type caliber team is going to be that defensive front. Are they able to get pressure? Are they able to create issues in the backfield? Because we really don't have a speed rusher, man. And how are we going to win those fights up front? I like us. We got to stay healthy at the linebacker position. I think we're going to be solid in the secondary. But, I mean, I think it all pivots down to what are we able to do on the defensive front? And that seems to be the question around college football.
I'm just wondering what you're expecting with Ryan Grubb being back and how you expect things to look different. Maybe what aspect of that excites you, you think brings real positives, what might be a little bit different to fans when they watch it. Just your overall thoughts of him now being there, getting through this fall camp and heading into the season.
Well, I still contend, though, had Ryan Grubb been the offensive coordinator last season, you probably wouldn't have seen a whole lot different just because of the skill set of what Jalen Milroe had. You had to utilize his ability to run the football and some of the challenges that he could put on a defensive unit. You had to take advantage of that. So it was going to be different regardless. he has mentioned over and over, though, that his experience at the NFL level really made him a better coach, made him understand how to communicate better, how to call plays better. So you're hoping that, along with probably more talent than what this roster had last season, that they're able to really press the defense in multiple ways, not only vertical, laterally, but also more balanced on the running game, and allowing the quarterback to not be as big of a part of the running game, however, still with enough mobility to be able to take advantage of that. So how different is it going to be? It's going to be different year to year, because these coaches will tell you it's all based on personnel, what they have returning, what comes into the transfer portal, and they're all still trying to find their identity a couple of weeks into the season.
I don't think there's any doubt. Tyler, we're looking forward to catching up with you on Mondays again. You'll be with us every week. Enjoy the game this weekend, and we'll catch up a week from today.
Appreciate it, fellas.
There you go. Tyler Watts, former Alabama quarterback, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I've said, Greg, that when looking at Ryan Grubb and what he's going to bring, I think there will be more emphasis of ground and pound football, wanting to impose your will. I just think that there's a little bit more of that in his DNA, and it's going to be more on the forefront of his mind. I also think the way the team is set up, the way the team is built, it's a tad more necessary. I'm not just going to say that they can't succeed without it, but I do think that could open up more for this team than maybe what it did a year ago. And I think that this team is a little more certain with who they are and what they are, as opposed to last year when you had a little Jekyll and Hyde with different pieces of your offense. Didn't know what you were going to get on a daily basis, weekly basis, every practice, every series basis. So now you can go in and say, hey, we know we're this, so this is what we're going to go be, because that allows us to do all these other things, as opposed to last year where those game plans may have drastically changed from week to week or every few weeks. And while at times last year there was that, all right, we're going to go out there and try to push you around now, it wasn't often. I think a lot more often now we're going to see a team that at least wants to go out there and impose their will and be a run-first football team on offense.
Well, I think that's in an ideal scenario, that's what they'd like to be. A team that can run the football, that's going to pound it, that's going to do a lot of different things. The one thing that concerns me is, will the offensive line be able to move people off the ball? That we have thought for a couple of years now. 2 years ago, maybe being the best example, hey, this is going to be a group that can just pound you. And it didn't materialize, because moving guys off the ball is hard. And having an offensive line that gels is difficult. I think the path of least resistance continues to be through the air. So, yeah, if they can move the ball and pound you like the murder ball days of yesteryear, amazing. That's great. But is that realistic in today's day and age in college football?
Right.
Like how many teams are truly doing that are just pounding you and making you like it?
There's not a ton. There's
Notre Dame was that
hard.
last year.
Michigan was a couple of years ago. Georgia has been at times the last couple of years here and there.
Army.
Well, yeah. Service academies are still there.
Not so much Navy anymore.
No.
They have a cool offense.
It's it's not. There are not as many teams that lean on it. Let's just do this. Let's go to last year. Your top 10 rushing teams in college football. Okay?
Yes.
We're going to look at those, and you tell me as I go through these. We'll go top 15. Top 15 rush teams in college football, as in yards per game. Which ones were that in mentality and operation, that they go out there and they push you around physically? Army.
Yeah, I mean, Army.
They could. Yeah.
Definitely could.
New Mexico.
Yeah, they were good.
But they weren't.
There's a lot of it was smoke and mirrors.
Mm-hmm. Jacksonville State.
Smoke and mirrors.
Liberty.
Don't care.
UCF.
Malzahn, smoke and mirrors.
Navy. At times.
Yeah. Not mowing you off the ball.
By the way, this is a surprise number for me, UNLV. I knew they ran the ball well. I didn't know they were number 7 in the country.
A lot of quarterback run.
And a lot of built-in read plays, manipulation, things of that nature. Now, Boise, they had a dude, obviously, but that was still.
But their offensive line wasn't good.
They weren't great, but they were going to at least make that effort to push you around.
Yeah.
I would still classify them as that style of football team.
Right.
Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty good up front.
They tried to be that more so than they have. but there was still a great benefit of being spread out, tempo formations, things of that nature that helped with that. Air Force, absolutely, and they're going to move you. K-State had a lot of that in them. Ohio, no. Kansas, no. Old Dominion, no. Texas State, no. So out of the top 15 rushing teams in college football last year, what do we name? 4 that were? Tennessee, Boise, Army, Air Force, Navy. 5 out of 15 were teams that went out there and said, hey, there's nothing you can do about this. We're going to push you off the football. I mean, some other teams that come to mind, you mentioned Notre Dame, 19th in rushing offense last year.
Yeah.
Penn State did it at times last year. I mean, it's not like Drew Aller was running past people. They were 17th. Iowa was 24th. They did it. Tulane did it. They were 25th. A&M did it. They were 26th. So there are still some teams out there that are able to be that. I mean, Miami was that at times. I mean, they had a couple hammers at running back. That helps. But
for sure.
But like you said, there's not a lot of teams that can even have the desire to be that 30, 40% of the time because they can't do it. Like Georgia Tech was 32nd in rush yards last year per game. I know they want to be that, and I know Brent wants them to be that, but like they don't have the O-line and the tight ends to do that just on an 80% clip. They got to motion you. They got to move you. They got to formation you. They got to QB run you. They got to read you. All those things are going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So speaking of Georgia Tech, Tyler Jones tweeting into the show, what I'd like to see from my team is Haynes King stay healthy and just play a sound football game.
That'd be
Balanced
great.
attack on offense and some improvement on defense from last year. If they do all that, they're going to have a good season. Now, again, some people will translate that to you and I saying they're going undefeated, but I think they're going to have a good year. I think Georgia Tech deserves a little bit more conversation than what they're getting heading into this season. Just nationally with what people are not really saying about them.
Well, here's the thing about Georgia Tech.
That's a big one this weekend too, man, and a super interesting one on both sides.
I like their chances this weekend. Just saying. That game's Friday also. That'll be head to head with Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
So take your pick. You can only watch one. Oops. I'll watch Georgia Tech. You can watch Auburn.
I'll be watching Auburn Friday night, and there's going to be some folks that are disappointed that I'm staying in, but I got to watch that game, man. I got to be dialed in on that one.
I would hope. Anyways, back to the original point. If you look at Georgia Tech, their schedule, their personnel. First of all, I think the kid, I went back and just buzzed it. Just because everyone's talking about Georgia Tech, they're a little trendy. Don't love trendiness. They're a little trendy. I look at Georgia Tech. I'm a little concerned about replacing some of the pieces on the offensive line. I went back and buzzed a little tape on some of the big plays created by Eric Rivers, their transfer from FIU. Mm-hmm. That guy's going to be good.
Yep.
He's going to be a good player. He's going to do some nice things for them. And I'm not saying he replaces Eric Singleton, but I don't know if that hole that Singleton created is going to be as significant as originally anticipated.
No, he helps. I've had a couple of his games before.
He can go.
He can play.
He can play. So that was a really nice addition if they're continuing to just emphasize speed. That's what this team does. They emphasize speed. They emphasize toughness. Speed first, toughness second. Not in a bad way. Just they want track speed on the field, which I love. I just worry about the offensive line. Here's their problem. They have so many coin toss games. They might be favored in 10 games. They're going to be an underdog against Clemson. We know that. They're going to be an underdog against Georgia. We know that, right? But how many games on their schedule are coin tosses? Start with this weekend's game against Colorado. That's a 4-point line. 3.5, 4, whatever it is. That's a coin toss game. That's a hard game.
I'm just going to say this. I think they should win that game.
I think they'll win that game. Virginia Tech on October 11th. Tough game. I think Virginia Tech's going to be better.
Those are two very similar teams as far as what we know and what we don't know.
Correct.
And what they could be or couldn't be.
At Duke. Coin toss. At NC State. I think NC State's going to be better. Coin toss. At Boston College. Coin toss.
November 15th, by the way.
Correct. Think it'll be snowing sideways? Yep.
It ain't going to be pretty.
Pitt at home. Like all those teams are bowl eligible teams. And I would not sit there and say, yep, Georgia Tech's going to blow them out. Any of them. So I just think they have a lot of games. 7 probably that are probably toss-ups this year.
But when you have veteran safety, veteran linebacker coming back, when you have veteran center, veteran quarterback coming back, you would like to think that the wherewithal would then lie with Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
The veteran aspect of the teams would sort of help them out a little bit. And they've got some young guys on the D-line and O-line that are not young anymore that have been kind of growing that I think could take a step this year. I know they like the Malachi Hosley kid. They got at running back. I think he's a Ivy League kid that can come in and help a little bit. I need to go watch the Malachi Carney kid from South Alabama again. I don't remember him. I know I watched him at one point in time, but I can't remember now how much I liked him, didn't like him. You plug him at one tackle spot, maybe that helps. But you get a Kilo Stone back who did almost nothing at Georgia Tech the first time and then actually played some decent football at Ole Miss, and now he's back at defensive line. Maybe he helps some. I don't really know. But it can't be a bad get from somebody that knows your scheme system and knows your guys, and you know him. So I got good vibes with Georgia Tech right now.
Fair.
I do. But like you said, it's almost going through what you just did right there. We're basically saying the ACC is the Big 12. And then we got a ton of teams that are really close. So what does that come down to? Mistakes, turnovers, sloppy football play, third downs, situational football. And if you have the veterans in the right places, which it looks like Brent does this year, you should be able to get most of those games. That would be the expectation. Haynes King continue to cut down turnovers, continue to make smart plays in big moments, which I feel like he's gotten better and better and better about. And you grab a couple of those. So a couple.
How many are you running to the window though and saying, "Yep, for sure, no doubt, Georgia Tech is winning that game"?
Not a ton, but I'll ask you this question: how many teams in college football do you feel like you're running to the window on 8 or 10 weeks this year because you feel that good about them? There's not many. Not
a ton, but teams like Georgia Tech that are really trying to surge, they get to win their close games, which is great. That's awesome. But guess what? That is stressful. Stress eventually takes its toll on a team where they're going to lose a game where you're like,
that's what those teams do.
They have no business losing that game.
You either do that or you're Nebraska. And we sit here 7 years later talking about how many one-score games you've lost. It's one of two things. You either find a way to win the close games, you grow up a little bit, you get more mature play in big moments, or you sit there and you keep losing by 1, 2, or 3 points, and we talk about how those are automatically wins next year.
Yes.
One of two things. So we'll find out which one Georgia Tech is, but I'm with you. That is a very intriguing game Friday night for multiple reasons. We look at Colorado's side of that whole thing. You go get Caden Salter, super talented quarterback. You got another quarterback that you took to media days. It's coming in as a freshman, and Juju Lewis you're sitting there waiting on. Think he might be able to be a guy that helps you down the road.
Yes.
But you lose the best overall football player in college football, number one, who was great on both sides of the ball for you. You lose a quarterback who was excellent in college, who, depending on how you look at streaks, via division of football, if you look at it and open it up to all of them, had the longest touchdown passing streak in the history of the game. He's gone. So all of a sudden it's just going to correct itself?
For sure.
Hard to imagine that.
Absolutely. Always corrects itself. Come on.
Next Savage up.
I just worry about the toll it takes in playing games that come down to the wire on a week-to-week basis. And the likelihood of running the gamut there.
It's fair. That toll can be flipped.
It can.
Team I had a conversation with a friend this weekend, and he said, I think most college football teams are who they are. He goes, it shifts and varies a little bit every year, but essentially you are who you are. And I said, no different with Auburn. They're a momentum football team.
Yes.
And you can ride that momentum like a tidal wave. But as soon as that momentum turns on you, what happens? You get slapped in the face and you don't know what to do.
Confirm.
LSU, to me, has always been a bit of a front-running football team. When the going's good, watch the hell out. Going's bad? Not always best with adversity placed in front of them.
Correct.
But a lot of times has the talent to overcome it. And then you get the thing going good, and it's like they get a little extra swag. They start puffing their chest out a little bit, and they're that talented. Oh, boy. Not what you want. Not what you want to have to face up against. More college football talk next on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, a couple other questions coming in from our listeners on what they're looking for this weekend, what they want to learn this weekend, what they need to see from their teams this weekend. 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. Tomorrow, Andy Bertram's on the show at 8, Bruce Pearl on the show at 9. Bruce going to give us just a little view into his team, some details on his team before we hit college football season. And then Max Ball.
You're going to get ripped for that segment.
Good.
It's football season.
Football meant to be played in the fall. We can't get any pay games. All right, David May tweeting in, who would get the most snaps at RB1, Richard Young or Daniel Hill? And if y'all learned anything on our tight end room, haven't heard a word about Danny Lewis, so I'm guessing it will be Josh. This is space on tight end. So
I think Aquinas. I think it'll be Richard Young at running back. I don't know. We'll see, but that'd be my guess.
It's fine there. You're good.
Yeah. He'll be fine. And downhill is not necessarily a game breaker,
Physical.
but get you some tough yardage.
Goes back to what I said about that mindset, though.
He'll
That's
run
where
hard.
you want to go. He's a pretty good guy to help set that tone.
Yeah.
He can get that going. So I wouldn't be upset about that. And I think too, what you kind of hope for, GMAC, is that later in this game you're in a position to say, all right, well, let's give a couple looks here. Let's look around. What do we have? What does it feel like it's going to be? So on and so forth. And that's kind of where you want to go with that.
Yes.
Chuck tweets in, my concern for Tennessee is the OL. Replacing 4 starters and having a true freshman at tackle in Sanders Jr. Got to keep quarterback upright. Now, wait a second, Chuck. I was told that freshman was a 5-star and it was going to be better.
Better than what they had.
That's what I was told.
Correct.
Now,
He's willing to play.
Now I'm confused.
He's willing to play right tackle. Improvement.
That's actually a big win.
All
It's a
you
really
need.
big win. I think offensive line is my number one concern for Tennessee. I do think, Greg, there has been not near enough conversation about some people have been very flippant with this about the difference in what Joey Aguilar is going to do now compared to what he has done. And I'm not referencing just shotgun to under center or pistol to regular shotgun. The accuracy in which the quick game, that quick game is not necessarily designed to just get the ball to the guy. It's designed to get the ball in a certain spot at that time so he can run after the catch. And if those plays are going for a yard or no yards or minus a yard, that's a pretty big hindrance against that offense and how it's designed and what it's supposed to do. And then how quickly the ball needs to come out, where the ball needs to come out to, the tempo, getting guys lined up and getting the football snapped. It's just different from what he's done. And I think all of us as former athletes, once we got out of a routine and there was something technically and fundamentally different that we had to do, that was not easy. It was not an easy transition. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to be able to do it, but it's how good can he be at it, how quickly. And that's what takes a little bit more time.
Well, my biggest problem with where they're at along the offensive identity is if they can't run the ball as well as last year. Let's just assume they can't, because what's the likelihood of them running for the same level of production as last year?
I don't think that is feasible.
It'd be amazing. If they can, more power to them. If they can't run it as well as last year, and you aren't having to sell out as a secondary against the run, and you're not having to have overhang players for the safety, and you're not having to add a half hat into the run game on every single offensive snap, and you're not super concerned about quarterback taking off and going the distance with the run game in called runs and or scrambles, can their receivers create enough against coverages that might have 2-on-1 defenders, 2 defenders on 1 receiver? Are they good enough to throw the ball out of a jam? That's my biggest concern, because last year, while Nico had his challenges from a consistency standpoint, we all acknowledge that, there was still the threat of a guy going over the top because you're having to sell out against the run, finding a 1-on-1 and creating a big play. And while he missed a handful of those, a whole bunch, a whole heap, as we like to say, there was always the threat of that one guy getting behind you and calling it quits.
Yeah, it's totally fair. And I told all you guys going into last season, what I was most interested with Tennessee was the mentality and how it was going to change, because they spent basically an entire offseason saying we need to be able to play a different style of football to win games. We need to be more smash mouth. Physicality is going to become a premium. And they went and got a couple extra offensive line to help with that. They went and got some tight ends to help with that. They really did a great job with that. Kitselman's going to be back, and he's somebody who's still going to help with that. But we even saw that fade as the season went on, Greg.
Yep.
Like, that was a strength against North Carolina State.
Huge.
They manhandled North Carolina State up front. They did. And that's not a team that we have said that about very often in the last 10 years.
No, that was a little bit of a different NC State team, though.
It was.
In fairness.
But you tell me the last team that you saw on film that you said they rocked North Carolina State. And you're right about North Carolina State. But at the same time,
it's an acknowledgement of fact that NC State was different last year than what they've been traditionally. But
in similar fashion, you watch them in the last 2-3 weeks of the season in the playoffs, like, it wasn't working the same way.
No.
And I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why that was. I don't know if they were dinged up, banged up, hurt. Physicality just faded because they began to lean on some of the – because I was the one that stood up and raised my hand and said, now, hold on. I'm not mad because Josh didn't push it down the field 47 times a game. Like, they wanted to do this. They set out to be able to do – they set out to be able to go to Norman, Oklahoma, up 7 with 7:52 left and not have to throw the ball 19 more times in that game. That's what they wanted to be able to do. So they're doing what they set out to be able to do the entire offseason. And people were mad at it. Now, what does that all mean going into this season with the massive overhaul personnel-wise? I don't know. I think a lot of that's going to be on how comfortable Joey is with certain things inside the offense. Deep ball accuracy in the quick game, decision-making in the quick game. Wherever he is going to have a lot to do with, I think, who they want to be offensively. And we don't know the answers to those yet.
Yeah, totally fair.
And I'm going to say this. We've said it on this show. We've warned you. Be careful with that one. Just don't go into that one thinking that, our offense is great, our scheme's great, here we go, let's have some fun. That's not going to be it for that one. It's going to need to be a little more than that. That's for sure.
Yep. Totally good with that. I do worry. I will admit, I am concerned. Doesn't mean they can't be legit. Doesn't mean they can't be great. I am concerned.
For good reason. All right, so we gave you some starting quarterbacks. We run around some different things in college football. There's a couple other games from the weekend we haven't really spent time on yet. I want to do that, and we will do it next right here on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. A couple other games that we have not hit from over the weekend that I wanted to quickly. I'm just going to go on a limb and guess that you guys missed the Nichols Incarnate Word game.
No, I got a little bit of it.
No, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was. I just assumed Incarnate Word was going to just rinse, repeat after Calzada, after Cam Ward, and scored 70.
You just thought that was going to happen.
Yeah,
huh?
I just thought that. I thought they were going to throw it all over the yard, and Nickel State said,
You don't just go to Manning Field and come out with a win.
Yeah. It was sloppy, though.
That doesn't happen, John?
Yeah.
Not the case?
Well, I guess someone does because someone has to win, but
Whoa.
It wasn't going to be easy, and it
got him. It in fact was not.
It was not.
No.
All right. The reason I bring this up is Tommy Rabacki, now the head coach there. And there are a couple of things that took place inside of this game. I mean, we know Nichols has not traditionally been
strong, to quite strong,
above average.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they haven't. 20-6, they get the win. His first game as head coach. Nichols, the first team to hold Incarnate Word under 10 points since Sam Houston beat them on September 21st of 2019. So it had been, 5 years since they had not scored 10 points in a game?
Yeah.
Also, Incarnate Word's 204 yards, fewest in a game since October 21st, 2017. It snapped a 58-game streak of at least 300 total yards in a game.
Wow.
58 straight. It was also their second loss in the past 20 games versus Southland opponents. They were the preseason favorite to win Southland this year. So that's just a heck of a win for Nichols And like Damian said, a lot of people thought Incarnate Word was just going to continue to roll. But when you've had 300 yards in 58 straight games,
right.
People probably anticipate that.
Not
when
bad.
you've scored more than 10 every game since 2019, probably think you're going to get that. Either way, still a nice win there. We did mention UNLV's win against Idaho State. Dan Mullen, we didn't hear this from a little bit earlier, just kind of his thoughts on his team's performance after the game.
I could get up here and give you all the different boring things of what happened in the game, and all the little things that we have to fix. But the exciting things of what happened in the game, we're in a tough game. That Jordan Cook, one hell of a quarterback, one unbelievable football player. But the great thing is finding a way to win, right? I mean, there's very easy. Could have been very easy for us to find a way to lose today as a team. But this team, these guys all stuck together and found a way to win when it was important.
That goes back to what you were talking about, Greg, with just the Georgia Tech situation. Being good in certain situations, finding ways to win games, knowing when to be maybe a little bit more risk averse, when to take your chances, when to take your shots, and you got to grow up to do that. So for Dan Mullen, being in that game against a team that most of those kids probably thought they were going to walk through, giving up a lot of yards to still go out there, find a way to win, get the dub, you feel pretty good about that.
Feel real good about it. The other thing you feel pretty good about is the fact that a lot of those guys knew. A lot of those guys haven't necessarily been around the program, so I think that's clutch. But in saying all of that, is there a concern going forward defensively with what they've accomplished?
There's no doubt.
Has to be, right?
You have 380 yards passing, you're worried.
You have to.
And there were multiple receivers running wide open in that game.
And guess what? That's not that uncommon. Like, got a lot to clean up. Guess what? Defensively, can figure it out. Hopefully be better next year or next week, next time out. But it kind of goes back to our conversation early in the show today. These games in weeks 1, 2, and 3, as you're kind of figuring things out, those that can best weather the storm and win situationally are going to be successful. Why did Iowa State win the game? It's pretty simple. They both turned it over. Both were a little sloppy. Like, it wasn't great. Muffed punts, what have you. Why did Iowa State win the game? Because they went 3 for 3 on 4th down. Kansas State went 1 for 4. That's why they won the game.
Yeah.
It's pretty dang simple. It's not a hard, complex conversation to have.
Not super difficult.
Nope. 3 for 3 on 4th down. 4th and 1, Rocco Beck run to the left-hand side. Spin through contact. Could have been a TFL. It wasn't. He fell forward. First down. 4th and 1 again, a little later in the game. Sprint option left. Rocco Beck keeps it. Gains 4. First down. Late in the game. 4th and 3. They decide to bring pressure. Outlet to Hansen in the backfield. Right in the flat. Catch. Make guy miss. Up the field to the first down. 1st and 10. All right. 4th and 1s. That's what determined the game. 1 was on their own 43-yard line.
Yep.
You don't get that. It's big potential flip in the game and momentum. Meanwhile, you have Kansas State going in. Can't convert a 4th and 1 on the 7-yard line. You have a little later in the game, 4th and 1, get stuffed with a QB sweep. And then a little later in the game, I mean, it's like they just couldn't get out of their own way. So it's 4th down. And that's going to be the name of the game here as we continue on. The teams that win situations early will win games. The teams that don't will lose games. It's not going to be so much as we're just going to go out there and flex on our opponent, because that's not likely. You're still a work in progress at this point. Yep. You got to win situationally.
There's no doubt. And then being able to hold on to a lead, being able to go play catch up. If you have to do that, that makes your team very different. We'll get to all that throughout the course of the season. Who's doing it, who's not doing it, why they're doing it, how they're falling short of it. All of that and more. Before we go to break, though, tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, love Shannara Flooring. Love working with Fu and love the relationship that we have. Always appreciate very much the level of service and expertise that you're going to get when Shannara Flooring comes to see you. They're going to upgrade your home. They're going to make that experience better. Very encouraged by the inventory that they've been able to accumulate. 40,000 square feet of CoreTech flooring is currently in stock. And because they have so much, they're able to give it to you at the best possible price. They're going to give you $10 off per box. So you can really stack some savings when purchasing that CoreTech flooring by Shaw from Shannara Flooring. Call Foo and You today, the fooandyou.com. You can call them, you can get them out, you can get a quote, all that stuff, and you get 12 months financing to kind of take a little bit of the pressure off your budget. It's going to upgrade your floor. It's going to upgrade your home. It's going to upgrade your business. So call them today by going to fooandyou.com. That's fooandyou.com. It's Shinar Flooring.
Remember in the middle of the Saban run where certain teams would do stuff and they're like, this might be his best team. This might be his best team.
Yeah.
There's no way they can be better than that team. There's no way. Our chosen sons are back in bad box score of the day. And I'm beginning to wonder.
How back are they?
Is this the best Stars team we've ever seen here on this show?
Ooh, 98 with Madonna and Brett Hull would be up there.
I'll ask you if you agree and tell you why I'm even asking the question next on Bad Box Score of the Day, Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning, closing out day one of week one game week. Appreciate all the feedback you guys get in. If you missed anything, whether it was Paul Feinbaum, Brandon Marcello, Tyler Watts, JocksFM.com, or the Jocks app, you can go back, listen, or just rewatch it on YouTube. Search Jocks 945. You can find it there. Before we get into our bad box score of the day, tell you about my friends at Royal. The end of summer savings event is on at Royal Buick GMC. Here's some of the discounts you're going to be able to find. 2025 GMC Sierra SLT Premium Plus X31 with sunroof. List price $71,610. You get it for $57,110. It's a savings of $14,500. Have you seen the 2025 Buick Encore GX Sport Touring SUV? List for $30,575, but has been reduced by $5,100. Buy it today for $25,475. All offers valid through September 2nd, 2025. Certain restrictions apply. The approved credit. Save money. Upgrade your ride at Royal Buick GMC, home of the $75 dock fee. Royal Buick GMC at the corner of I-65 Highway 31 of Vestavia. Remember, for every ride, there's Royal. All right, let's get to our bad box score of the day.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Intentional grounding, offense number 7. It's a 10-yard penalty. I'm talking to America here, excuse me.
That's the game.
All right, the Soldotna
Stars
took on the Chugiak
Cougars.
No.
You told us this one.
Yeah.
Chugalongs.
Wolves?
No. Mustangs over the weekend. The Stars will go to 2-0 in league play. Mustangs fall to 0-2 after a 64-7 win.
Oh boy.
The Rail Belt Conference.
Which, by the way, might be my favorite conference name I've ever heard in my life.
The Rail Conference?
Rail Belt.
Can we get like a Purdue train whistle from now on for Bad Box Score of the Day when we mention Rail Belt Conference and it just goes...
I think we can find a sorry, I didn't know if I was going to sneeze or cough there. I think we could probably find a choo-choo train noise for you.
We need that. Allow me to take you down the tracks through some of the numbers. 21-0 at the end of one.
There we go.
Quarter.
There we go.
Quarter, not half. Quarter.
We ain't got time to mess around.
Nah.
49-0 at the half.
Let's go.
They scored on all 8 drives. That quarterback Owen Buckby was on the field. We mentioned him last week. Now,
yeah.
Here's where we begin the conversation of, is this the best Soldotna team we've ever seen?
Let's go.
Isn't this a rivalry game?
It's a Rail Belt Conference game.
I thought it was a rivalry game.
That's a rivalry like Texas and A&M is.
When you blow these teams,
Alabama,
when you blow
Auburn,
teams out like this,
where
they can't
one
qualify
side
as
thinks it's a
rivals.
rivalry, the other side not so much.
Georgia Tech, yeah.
They just happen to be in state.
Correct, yeah.
Our chosen son, the Soldotna Stars offensive
He won't
starters.
take debate on that.
You won't.
Not in week one.
Our chosen sons,
We're worried about Baylor.
Soldotna Stars offensive starters have now scored 18 touchdowns on 18 drives this season.
100%, baby.
Yeah, but what have they done on 4th down?
Don't need them.
How many 3rd down attempts? Not enough.
Coach Galen Brantley Jr. said, I feel like we're executing at a pretty high level for week 2.
That's
yeah,
one
I'd
way
say
to put
so.
it. That's one way to
I would
put
say
it.
so, Coach. He said, we're not where we need to be. We're moving in the right direction. The exact attitude we expect him to have. There's a lot more cleanup here, even though we're 18 for 18 on touchdowns every time we've touched the ball.
We got work to do.
You asked the question all show. What do you want to see in week 1? Obviously, Saldana had the answer because look at him.
Now, Jeff Helmanack wrote this article, and he added that the Stars are famous for their rushing attack, but the offense becomes all more lethal when the passing game is also a big threat.
Yep.
Buckby was 5 of 6 for 112 yards and 3 touchdowns. I love that 5 of 6 is the passing game becoming lethal.
So lethal.
5 of 6, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns. Who dropped the pass? I need to know. He also ran for a 56-yard touchdown.
Come on. Dual threat.
2 of the passing touchdowns, Damian, went to Matthew Schilling. 4 catches, 105 yards.
Let's go.
2 touchdowns.
Let's go.
Kurt's son out here doing work.
Man.
Yep. Wow.
Give him the ball.
Bloody sock.
Dax Walden caught the other touchdown. And Don Wolverton led the rushing attack with 6 for 108 and 2 touchdowns.
Man, they are unstoppable. Let's go.
I asked the question again. Are we witnessing the greatest Soldotna Stars team we've ever seen?
It's starting to feel
2 weeks in. 2 weeks in. That's all I'm saying. We should maybe just rename this segment to Soldotna.
Against who?
I will say this.
Soldot talk.
People felt this way back in 2010 when Denard Robinson was out here doing work 2 weeks in.
He had to throw the ball more than 5 times a game, though.
Oh, that's true.
I love Soldotna.
So do we.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we've introduced the people to him.
The lethal passing attack only took 6 attempts.
Soldotna 2-0 in the rail belt. They get, I don't know if they played this team last year. I don't remember this team. Dimond. Is that Diamond?
Demond
is where I was going to go. I
Kellen's
thought
cousin.
It might be. That'll be this weekend, Friday night, 7 o'clock.
Let's go.
They got Lathrop at the end of the year. And don't forget that big matchup with North Pole. They always deliver.
The poll always goes. Immunity.
The poll always brings extra gifts.
That's why the song was in your head.
All right, 3-man front coming at you next. We're back tomorrow, 7 to 10.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.